So we're gonna talk about gauges today. A few different options. If you want just a fuel gauge, you've got stage 6. They just peel and stick. You've got line voltage that'll go to it, and then your resistance to your gauge. So these are really simple, really nice. They're backlit. You have them in orange. You have them in black. So if you want just fuel, that's a good option. Tachometer, Trail Tech is the only way. They're made in Washington, super reliable. I can say I've never had to change a battery in one of these at all. These come with all of our tacks, just peel and stick, no wiring. Temperature, cylinder head temp. You can also do these for coolant as well. We've got these in 14 millimeter, 12 millimeter. Again, you'll never have to change the batteries on them. Killer service, made in Washington. Trail Tech Vapors are our favorite pick. If you don't need gas, these do not do gas, but they're backlit, again, made in Washington. Got a ton of options, your temp, tack, voltage, outside temp. You've got different presets that'll come up orange and red as you set it. So these are really nice. Stage 6 makes a speedometer unit. If you're looking for just a speedometer, backlit as well. And then you have this Koso unit. It's really nice. We just put one on a bike today. William put it on his Ruckus. This does everything and it does fuel. These come with liquid cooled sensors. So if you want to run this on an air cooled bike, you need to buy the Koso rings to go with it, which we have. But again, these are really nice. If you need gas, if you need fuel level, this is the same thing. This will read fuel as well. So the Trail Techs don't read fuel. The Trail Techs are higher quality in my opinion, but these have more features. So we've got the little coolant jackets if you need to add them, or the coolant inline sensors if you want to run coolant with your vapors. So just to give you an idea, that's how the Trail Tech mounts. They come with, that one's a little different, but so there's the other one too, is a Pollini dual temp gauge. So you've got your voltage, your coolant or air temp, and then that's your tack, and you can scroll through here. And you can, so this is good if you have a water-cooled bike, because you can put a sensor on the head and one on the radiator. So this tells you how efficient your system is acting. So this is one of my personal favorites. It does not do speed, it doesn't do fuel. All it does is temperatures. So you can actually run an air-cooled and a liquid-cooled sensor, or if you had a GY6, you could look at your oil temp, and you can look at your cylinder head temp and your tack at the same time. These are my favorite gauges, hands down. Stage 6 over here. This one does everything except for fuel. So, and this is also dual temp gauge as well. I'm more of a fan of the Pollini gauge myself, because I've been running them for a few years with no issues. Let's see what else is there. Carter's got a DynoJet data logger unit, which shows wideband air fuel ratio. We have these as well. And on the Twin, don't mind the wheel off, same thing, running the dual temp, because I can read both cylinder gauges, which is nice. So rarely are you gonna have the time where you need to read both cylinders. But I went on a ride Super Sunday, and my right cylinder was a good 11 degrees higher than my left out of nowhere. So I was able to see that one cylinder was getting less water than the other. I was just a little bit low on coolant, but it was nice to because had I just had it on one, I wouldn't have seen that the second was running hotter than it should be. So yeah, so I hope that helps guys with gauges on bikes. Temp gauges, if you have an air-cooled bike, it's kitted. You're crazy not to run one. They're 55 bucks. Ours come with extensions, and it's just cheap insurance. If you run a temp gauge on an air-cooled two-stroke, the only way to blow it up is just by not putting it together correctly or not watching this temp gauge, because this is gonna peak and tell you where your temperature's at for break-in. You can use it for tuning your pilot circuit, tuning your main jet. So hands down, if you got an air-cooled bike, an air-cooled two-stroke, or even liquid-cooled, for that you need a temp gauge. So you're kind of crazy if you don't run one. I think that's it for gauges. Again, if you don't need speed or fuel, because who cares about speed? And two-strokes burn so much fuel anyways. Who really cares about that? If you're like me, you're living on the edge, I guess. These things rock. I've had this bike down at 35, 40 miles an hour at the track, and this thing has never skipped a beat ever. So that's it. Hopefully that gives you guys some clarification on some of the most common gauges that we run. I sell, I don't know, probably 300 of these a year. Tacks, these are great for rucks because they're just peel and stick. But if you think you want a temperature and you want a tack, save your money and just get a vapor, because by the time you get both these, it's going to cost you an extra 15, 20 bucks to get a vapor that does everything. Again, really nice gauges, made in Washington. I've been buying these for years. Let's see, I've got one wired up on this bike, so you guys can see how it looks. This tells me the temperature right now, and then you can roll through. Maybe this one's all goofed up because I don't have my speedometer hooked up, but that's going to read your. You can set this up to read your tack, or you can set it up to read your speed, and then you've got a bar here that reads your RPM. Stage 6 fuel gauge, that's how that works. These are really simple. You just change the resistance to work with Yamaha, Honda, or whatever. These are really nice as well, nice and bright at night. So if you're a ruckus guy, you need to have a Met sending unit to run this gauge. All right, have a good day.